Hey, what's up, Aquamigos? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're new here, my name's Tobias and welcome to another pond build video. This here is aquarium silicone. Check this out. Look at that expiration date, March 22nd, 2027. I've spent several hours off camera removing all of the silicone from inside of my trash can filters because, as many of you will know, in my last video, I talked about how I unknowingly used expired silicone on all of my seals, and that silicone was not able to cure, so I had to remove it all. It took me several hours. I'm not even joking. Before you ever use silicone, check the bottle and check the expiration date because it's very difficult to remove. So today, of course, I'm going to apply the new silicone, but before I do that, I have one more drainage valve that I need to install right here. So let's do that real quick. All right, guys, check that out. We now have 2-inch ball valves on all the trash cans. That's going to help me with the clean out. Now I'm just gonna do like a final wipe down of all the surfaces, and then we can go ahead and install, or should I say apply, then we can apply that new silicone. Okay, I think I got everything, guys. All right, guys, here we go. I'm just gonna clean the pipes as we go. This one's already cleaned out, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply the silicone. Of course, the bottom of the pipes, I'm not going to be able to get around that bottom side, so I'm just going to kind of smear it with my fingers, and that's why I have gloves on. So here we go, guys. This is my second time doing it, so I think I'll be all right, but man, you never know. So just taking a quick break because my back is aching from being hunched over for so long. But to apply the silicone on the inside of all those trash cans, it took me about half an hour, and then I had quite a bit of silicone left over, so I'm applying it to the outside of the filters just to be sure that they're not going to leak. And I'll probably just continue this until that tube runs out. So yeah, let's get back to it. All right, guys, we're getting there. And by the way, if you're wondering why the video keeps getting darker and brighter, it's because I keep having to adjust my camera's exposure because it is getting a little bit darker, but we're getting there, guys. All right, Aquamigos, so we're finished applying the silicone. I got silicone on all the seals except for the ball valves. If I remember correctly, I don't think any of those actually leaked, so I only sealed those on the inside. But the 3-inch pipes were more the ones I was worried about. Those are the ones that were leaking when we did the initial test run. I looked online and it should take between 48 to 72 hours until that silicone is 100% cured and safe to, like, you know, run water through. So make sure to check back in my next video because the next video, we're gonna test this thing out, we're gonna run it. And if everything is good, we should be able to, you know, put the media inside those filters, clean out the bottom of the pond, and then pretty much ready to transfer the fish over and have that thing up and running. So I know it's been a super long journey, but we're almost at the finish line. And I will be continuing this video tomorrow, but before I turn off the camera for today, I just want to point out, if you haven't seen it yet, check out last week's video because we installed the net. So there is a full net over this entire pond. You might see that it is sagging into the water. We already had a visit from the raccoons. I was able to see them on my security cameras. So yeah, the raccoons did make their first visit to the pond with the net on it. So yeah, yeah, it is sagging in the water a little bit. I think my solution for that is I think I'm going to get some thinner ropes. I saw some at Lowe's. They're like, I believe they're like maybe a 1/4 inch thick nylon ropes, and I think I might run a couple of those, maybe like 3 of them across, to prevent the net from sagging into the water. They're gonna be basically invisible, so I think that's gonna be a pretty good solution. But anyways, guys, the lighting is not great out here, so I'm going to continue this tomorrow, so I'll talk to you guys then. Hey, what's up, Aquamigos? So it's the next day now, and I'm so relieved. Check this out. Let's just take a look at some of the silicone I applied yesterday. It's already hard. I mean, it's still a little soft, but it is not tacky, and it is pretty hard. Like, this is exactly how silicone should be. Like, I'm pretty sure it still needs to cure 100%. I doubt it is 100% cured. I looked online, it should take about 48 to 72 hours to 100% cure, but already it's pretty hardened. So we're not going to get the filters running in this video just because I need to wait that, I want to wait that full 72 hours to make sure that it is 100% cured. So make sure to stay tuned for my next video. We're going to run this thing, but today I want to get my skimmer figured out. So I have, where is it? My skimmer, I took it out in my last video. I think I put it in here. Yep, here it is. This is my skimmer right here. It's got all this old algae on it. And then over here I have the inside filter basket thing. And then I think I showed it in my video from last week. I bought a new one of these because this pipe is glued to that fitting, so I can't remove it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have to remove this whole thing. I'm going to have to cut a new piece of pipe because I need it to be, I think, about like maybe 4 inches longer. And then I'm not going to glue those together. We'll just leave those dry fitted because it's going to be in the water anyway. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be watertight. So we're going to do that right now. And really quick, I just want to mention one other thing. So some of you might remember the first time we tested out the pump, or the filtration system, I should say, the first time we tested it out, and we just had a pipe coming from here straight into the pond. We didn't actually have these outputs installed yet, so we just ran a pipe from there over the edge of the pond. Some of you might remember that my flow was somewhat restricted by the setup that I had inside the filters. So I want to actually test this out. This is a bigger atrium drain cover. I think that's what these are called. Opposed to what I had before is I had this kind of setup with a smaller atrium drain type thing like that. So that was a lot smaller than this. So I'm wondering if this is going to allow enough water to pass through. I'm not 100% sure, but I figure we might as well test it out. If that doesn't work, I do have a backup plan. But regardless, we're going to run this in my next video. But anyways, let's get back to the skimmer. All right, guys, so for the skimmer, that should be it. Obviously, I've never used this skimmer before, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to actually work. I think maybe once the pump is on and there's a little bit of suction, this should go down fairly lower. So it's not actually going to be above the water because of course it's not going to be able to catch anything if that's above the water. But of course we'll have to wait and test that out. If for whatever reason that doesn't work, I can always remove this floating part and just leave the white basket inside because that seems to sink, so that shouldn't be a problem. And if you're new here, the way that this is working is that there is a 2-inch PVC pipe coming out of the wall on the inside of the pond. Then there's a 90-degree angle going up, and that's where I stuck the skimmer into that 2-inch 90-degree elbow, which goes into this pipe here and comes out of the ground right here and goes into my DIY settlement tank right here. So this right here is where my skimmer will be entering my settlement tank. So for anyone who's new here, just as a quick summary, let me just show you how this whole thing is going to work. So if I run into any issues inside the trash can filters with any of them overflowing because for whatever reason the flow seems to be restricted or something like that, I do have a 2-inch ball valve in here so I can regulate the overall flow of the pump. As you can see right there, this is connected to my settlement tank with this 4-inch pipe right there. And then of course, through the other side of this tote, there is a pipe. That pipe goes through the tote, goes into the ground, comes up over here into the first trash can filter. That'll go straight down to the bottom. It'll fill up, and then the rest of the system is just gravity fed. You know, it'll just go from one trash can to the next. And then once we get to the last trash can over here, let me just bring you guys around this way. There is the final pipe that comes out of that bin, goes into the ground, goes underground all the way over here, and then splits off into these 3 separate outputs back into the pond. And we'll be able to regulate the flow of each of these with the ball valves that I attach to them in the middle. And I actually have not tested these returns yet, so I'm really curious. I mean, I think they should work the way I expect them to, but of course we're not going to be 100% sure until I actually have it running. So anyways, guys, that's going to be just about it for this video. If you did like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you went down there and gave this video a like. That would help me out so much. If you'd like to see more of my pond build progress in the future, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's video because we're going to have the pump running, the whole filtration system running, and you don't want to miss that. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I'll go ahead and put my handle right here, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Peace.